Hi, it's Luna, aka your local Kobold, and today we're going to be learning how to make some OK framework mods with Unreal Engine. So to start off with, we're going to be grabbing ourselves Discord. There will be a link to the Palworld modding Discord in the description of this video. And if we head over to the modding guides channel, there should be a channel called, or a forum in here called Precompiled Palworld Modding Kit. And we're going to be grabbing the most recent file from here and downloading this. When you finish downloading that, you should have something that looks similar to like this folder, and there'll be some stuff in here which is like for my own personal stuff. Ignore those, that's fine. So we've got all of this set up. What we're going to immediately do then is right click on here and click on to generate Visual Studio project files. If you do not have this visible, what you can do is go to open with, and if you don't have a blue Unreal Engine here, we're going to go to choose another app, more apps, look for another app on this computer, and we're going to locate on our computer, so local disk, program files 86. I should actually just like open up this tells me exactly where to go. Yeah, program files 86, Epic Games, Launcher, Engine, Binaries, Windows 64. So we're just going to like head over to that area. So if you go to Program Files, Epic Games, Launcher, Engine, Binaries, Windows 64, and we're looking for the Unreal version selector. So when you select this, at first it'll look like nothing is happening. So it might take a long time for this to generate on your first time doing this. Don't worry about it, it might come with an error and stuff. Eventually will open up with like this thing saying WWise block has been detected and JSON assets been detected, all that kind of stuff. That's fine, we can ignore these things. So we're gonna be having the whole thing open up. If it opens up perfectly fine for you, that's great, and you end up with this and it loads in, that's fine. If it doesn't, however, and you end up with an error crashing out, just close Unreal Engine, right click on here, generate Visual Studio project files. It will look like nothing is happening for a long time. Also, when you first load up this Unreal Engine thing, it may take a long time for it to load up and it'll look like nothing is happening. When it eventually does though, like after doing these, you should be able to open up this and we'll be perfectly fine to continue going on to this. So at first you'll have no OK framework, nothing to work with here. So we need to go actually install those things. That's what we're going to do next. Okay, so now we're back into Discord. We're going to be looking for a channel called Mod Development, and we're going to be searching for one of a kind, and we're going to go to one of a kind, and we're going to be searching for one of a kind, and then we'll be able to find Z OK Overhaul Mod Tools 1.1. So this will be for the full version. These ones are only for if you're updating. So this will just like give you the update without the slots. This will just give you all the slots. But for what we're doing, we're going to be needing to install ZOK Overhaul because you don't already have a version installed to update. So we'll be grabbing this zip file. I've already got this downloaded, so I won't be downloading this again. And you'll get a zip folder that looks similar to this. So if we open this up, we'll find a content folder. You just want to drag the content folder to here and then just overwrite anything it tells you to overwrite. So I'm not going to be doing that because of course I've got my own personal work in here. I don't want to overwrite that. But once it's all finished installing, there's one last thing we need to do before we can start making some OK framework mods. So if we go back onto the Discord, you should be able to search for a post by typing recreated materials up here, and finding a post here by Sora. Might want to wait for the done to cook. You just click useful guides. It will take you to this post here where Sora mentions about how to recreate PAL base mats. It's found in the useful guides section. I don't think it's that far down to scroll down as well. If you're unable to find it, you could just click on useful guides, like just scroll down until you find Sora's post about it. But once you got this post, we want to be grabbing this recreated PAL base mats.zip, and with that zip folder, we'll have something that looks like this, same as before. You just want to open it up, grab your content folder, and just shove it there, overwrite anything that it tells you to, and we're now absolutely fine to be continuing to go in to make ourselves some OK framework slots. So we will be opening up our Unreal Engine, And we'll have these things inside of your materials folder. You'll have all these blueprint things which have all of your slots and stuff. So to start off with, we are going to want to actually extract ourselves some pals so we can actually make the material swaps and the model swaps for them. So we're going to need another program called Fmodel. So Fmodel you can find if you go to the Palworld modding wiki. I'll leave a link for this in the description, and we'll need to go to Get Started, Asset Swapping, Required Tools and Intro, and you'll find a thing called Fmodel here. You'll also need the most recent mappings file, which you can find via this Discord as well. Yeah, so I'll leave a link to this one. However, if you're watching this in the future, do note that this may be out of date. However, to find a more up-to-date one, you just need to go to Modding Guides, Mapping Files, or Fmodel. You can just search for this, so just go search for that, and you'll find one for the most recent version. So this person has another current one, but this one works as well. They both are quite functional. And yeah, once you've downloaded this, you will be able to open up Fmodel. When you first open it, it will ask you to point for a mapping file. I just leave a mapping file inside of the folder of Fmodel. I tell it where it is, and then it is able to work from that. But for me, it doesn't open up with that, but your system should look something similar to this. And we'll be looking for, yeah, mapping file path, and you just want to set that to the file path of where you have your mappings file. And then we'll need to be opening up palwindows.pack. If you have a bunch of mods, it'll all be showing up here as well. If you don't have a bunch of stuff here, including Palwindows, you might not have it pointed towards the right game, so you want to go to Archive Directory and make sure it's pointed towards the root folder of your Palworld game, and then you'll be able to find it from there. So we're going to go to Palwindows, Pal Content, Pal Model, Character, Monster, and this will just have all of the pals inside of here. For me personally, what I want to do, because I'm making textures and model sorts for every pal in the game, I right-clicked here and Save Folders Packages Textures. I clicked on this button. It takes a long time, but it'll get every single texture from every single pal and export them for you. And then I did the same thing for the packages models. And that'll just scale every single pal's models and textures for you to be able to import. If you only want a specific pal, you could just scroll down here, find its code name or internal name. If you don't know the internal name of your pal, you can just go to, again, onto the modding wiki. Under exporting, there's this here for your search system. And this has the converted names for every single pal. As of this video though, there isn't a converted name for Bella Noir. And so when you finish exporting these, I'll go to Output Exports, and then you've got it inside of here. You'll be able to go through the same pathway to be able to get it as you did in Fmodel. But Bella Noir, I'm pretty sure, yeah, is Night Lady and Night Lady Pink, which is how you'll find them in here. So if we then open up one of these, and also personally for me, I have a shortcut just directly to here because of how often I open this area up. I recommend you doing that as well, especially if you don't have this on a desktop. If you like keeping it on a separate area, like, it just makes your life so much easier just to have a quick, easy access to this, because if you're making Palworld mods, you'll be coming back and forth in this folder repeatedly. We'll also make some later for the slots and the models cooked, but we don't even have those set up yet, so we'll get to that when we get to that. Now we're going to be getting on to being able to actually import these into Blender so that we can turn these into usable models. So I'm going to be grabbing Chicken Pal, just as something to work with. I've already been working with Chicken Pal before, but I honestly, this was for a video that failed beforehand because there was just some errors with it. So I'm going to be actually doing this all over again. So I'm going to delete my blend file and the FBX file. We're going to just do this again from scratch. But yeah, you'll have a PSK file and also like some JSONs and stuff. But what we're going to want to do is go to Blender, and once Blender has opened up, we're going to sacrifice the default cube, because sacrificing the default cube, it brings you good luck for every time you're starting a new thing in Blender. So just press that delete button, get rid of the default cube. In fact, we don't even need these lights and camera. Delete those for extra luck as well. So we're going to go to File, Import, and then we're going to be going to Unreal PSK. If you don't have this as an option though, you can go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, and search for PSK. If you still don't have an option for PSK here, you can download this again from the PAL modding website. You go to Asset Swapping, Required Tools and Intro, and there'll be an option here for the Darklight Games PSK and PSA importer. So you're going to be wanting to download the zip file for that, and then you just go to Install, point it towards your zip folder, and then you'll come up with like something here. You just want to check that checkbox, and we've got it all sorted. So then we can just go to Import, PSK, locate that. This is another reason why I like having a shortcut on here. You just go straight here, it takes you straight to here. So we'll locate the thing we're going to be working with, which is going to be Chicken Pal. Opening up the PSK file, and it's important, we want to have this set to 0.01 because the Palworld models import massive, like the huge things for no reason, and it imports badly if you do that. Bone length we're going to set to 10, and I think everything else here is good. Yeah, so setting the bone length to 10 means that we can actually see where the bones are. The bones will be pointing in the wrong direction. That's perfectly okay. That's normal. It doesn't matter what orientation the bones are actually pointing in, because when these are imported in game, these tail parts you can see don't actually exist. Those only exist for Blender for animators to use. In actuality, when bones are loaded into a game, it's just a single point infinitely small that just tells it how to rotate, or like where to move and how to scale and all those kinds of things. But yeah, you'll notice that we also do not have a texture, so we're going to quickly fix this. We're going to go to our materials section, and we're going to go to the Chicken Pal body. Click on the little yellow circle on base color, image texture, and it'll turn black. And now we want to go to open. Again, locate where we've got Chicken Pal set up, which will be in Pal Rips, Chicken Pal, and what I like to do here is actually just install the incorrect textures first, and then go to open again to get the body in here. The reason why I do that is because if I were to go on to here and then get the texture for the eyes, then go to open, it opens in the wrong place, whereas the other one opens up in the same place as the previous texture. It's just a little convenience thing. But then we can just go to Chicken Pal eye, and boom, we got an eye. It will look a little bit strange, but we can easily fix this. Any textures that have these like black borders around here, like on mouths, eyes, or anything else that's supposed to have transparency, you just need to make sure you've got Chicken Pal eye or whatever the texture is selected. Go to the shading tab at the top, and then we're just going to grab this alpha tab that's not connected to anything. Down here and plug it into the alpha, and then we want to scroll all the way down here, go to blend mode under settings, and then you can either have alpha clip, alpha hash, or alpha blend. Personally, I prefer alpha blend. It just looks nicer in my opinion. This doesn't actually matter at all when we put it into Unreal. You can even skip the step if you want to, but it just makes it easier for working in Blender. But when it's in Unreal, like, none of this matters because we won't be using these materials inside of Unreal. We'll be using the ones that are built into the game. Okay, so then next up, we can go to Texture Paint. And if you press N, you'll have this bar come up at the side. Also, make sure you got material preview selected because it just makes it nicer to just work with it. You can see what the materials actually look like. So if you go to solid or rendered, it'll look incorrect and it'll be different when you got it in game. Just have it as material preview. It gives you the most true color. So we're going to want to go to tool, and then make sure you got the material that you want to be working on selected. Otherwise, you'll paint onto the wrong texture. And then you can just start painting on top of it. Sorry, single image mode. select the correct texture you want to be working on, and now we can paint on this and it won't paint over the top of the eye. You also notice the eye is preventing us from painting over the body. We're also having like some weird like issues here of like paint going to other places we're not supposed to. So a way we can fix this is if we go to edit mode. I like to just do this normally anyway. Just select the area of the eyes by pressing L, or in fact you can also just go to here and click select. It'll just select all of the eye area. Then just press H and you can hide stuff. Then we're going to go back to extra paint, and now we can just paint over the top of this area. And we'll also have like less issues with like paint going places we don't want it to. If you're still having issues with paint going places you don't want it to, you can go to fall off and change the fall off angle on normal fall off. If you turn this off, it allows you to like paint on the back side of things and you get like this weird stuff. Or if you have it turned on, it'll like try to blend around the edges. It's not perfect, it still has some issues, but it will like be more of like a blended effect rather than just harsh falling off. One of the things I do like to do with this though is having normal fall off turned off, going all the way over to here to occlude and backface culling under options. Also setting my bleed to like 4 or 6 pixels. That'll make sense in a moment when I explain that, but also paint mask, you want that turned on. So what you could do with paint mask and all of this stuff turned on is if you just press L, you can select everything that's linked to this thing. So I no longer can paint on... It's working weirdly. So those are all connected. So yeah, this will select everything that's connected onto what you pressed L onto. You can now just paint onto these. It won't go onto the beak or on the hair or on the feet, but it will go onto the wings because these are connected. A way to get around that though is if we go back into edit mode. So I'm going to select this and hide it. So we've got like this fluff around the wing. And then just trace around the edges of the wing where we don't want the paint to be going. So if we hold down Control and just follow this line around all the way around until you get back round to here, then you want to press Control Shift M, open this up and click Extend. So this will select that same line on both sides of the model, and then we can go to UV, Mark Scene. And now, if we press L to select something, you'll see there's an option for scene. Boom. We're only selecting the body now. And we can also just like individually select the wings and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to be just selecting the body, going to texture paint, and then we're just going to paint green all over it. And because we have that backface culling and everything turned off, you'll notice it's gone all the way to the back and every side of it is also selected. Also, this is actually perfect to be able to show this off. So this area here, wait, is that a hole or... Okay, so what I was going to say was if we had a normal error here, we could select the face that was here, go to mesh, normals, and then flip. However, what seems to happen here is I accidentally hid some vertices there. So yeah, if you see a hole, make sure you haven't accidentally hidden stuff before you start trying to fill it with other vertices. Yeah, just gonna re-hide the eyes. So yeah, we now have a green chicken pal. What I will be doing though is replacing it with my own texture I've been working on. Also, I've got just like a grayscale chicken pal. I usually have a grayscale chicken pal as my first textures when working with stuff because it's just like easier to work with when you're doing image editing. Because one thing I do like doing, I've got a few examples of these I will show you, is so I usually use paint.net in order to edit my textures more like detailedly. So I use Blender for doing like big color splashes all over the place to get everything all done quickly. But then when I want to come in and do some details, I'll open stuff up in Blender. So let me just get back here. Oh yeah, Berry Goat would actually be a really good example for this. So I have Berry Goat separated PDN. So this is a layered image where I have given each individual part of the model very block colors. And this means that I can go to my magic wand tool, set tolerance to 0, turn off alpha tolerance, and reduce selection quality down to just squares. Hold down shift and click on the wrong layer, and click on the area that I want to select it, and it will just select all of the color of the same thing. And this just allows me to then come in and then just like paint stuff onto the model, like have my own like little like textures stuff on here and like details of things. And you can also just like block recolor areas as well. I find this good for when I want to do just like basic color swap textures, because I could just very quickly just replace an entire color all at once by just pressing. So if we like select an entire area with this, you just press backspace and it'll just replace all of that area with the same color. But yeah, now we've got our texture all sorted and we got our model. What we do need to do before we close this down, I would recommend also saving as a blend file. So if we go to compile, saving this as a blender file, and then file export FBX. So a really important thing here is we need to have under armature, get rid of add leaf bones. Add leaf bones causes issues with animations having like weird legs and things. A great example of this is my alpaca mod, or Melpaca, depending if you want to use internal or external names. I had a whole thing of the ankle on one of the legs was just like broken off to one side, and it was making the animations just really dodgy. So if you get rid of add leaf bones on here, that just fixes it straight up. Other than that, I don't think anything else here needs to be fiddled with, like the scale there as well. If you forgot to do the scale beforehand, you can just change that. Yeah, if we export that and then save this, we've now got all our FBX files and everything. We can go back into Unreal, go to our content drawer, and we're going to want to go to this folder. If you don't have this folder, it's really important you follow the exact file structure here. So under your PAL folder, you want to make a model folder. Inside of your model folder, you want a character folder. Inside a character, you want a monster and a skeleton folder. And inside of both the monster and skeleton folders, we're going to want a folder with the same name as the internal name of your PAL. So we're going to have a folder called Chicken PAL, and we're going to put that into here. And we're going to copy it into monster, and we're going to move it into skeleton. So we now got two folders called Chicken PAL, and we're going to double check with here, we've got the spelling exactly the same. And then we're going to go to the model, the monster folder for the Chicken PAL, and we're just going to click and drag this FBX file into here. So some important settings to do here. We want to have skeleton mesh imported. If you already had a skeleton mesh done, you can select it to use the one that already existed by just like clicking on here and go through here. If you don't have a skeleton already installed, just make sure it says none. You also want to have under material, we're going to have local create new instance materials, and then select mi palette character body base as the base material. This will prevent it from creating its own base materials, because we want to make materials that reference these materials rather than new ones. And then make sure you also have base texture properties set to base texture. So then we can import that. You'll get an error. This is fine, we can ignore this, this happens every time. So we're now going to want to make sure that we've named these exactly as they are in Fmodel. So if we go back to Fmodel, and we go to PAL Windows, go back to your Chicken PAL folder inside of here, go to this Packages tab at the top. I'm not quite sure why there's a unique folder in here. I'm not quite sure what that is or what it does. It's just there. That seems to be something in a new update. I don't recognize that. But if we just go to Chicken PAL and Packages, we've now got all of these things, so we want to make sure these are named all the same. So for your physics asset, we want to be named this. So if we copy this, copy package name. Sometimes you get an error like that, that's fine. If you get an error like that, just go to package name without extension. I guess if you still have an issue, as I'm having, this sometimes happens, F model just has like a weird issue. Wait, did it? Okay, it actually copied it. But yeah, you just want to basically just copy this exact thing on top of these. So next up we're going to have... Oh yeah, skeleton and skeletal mesh are separate. So skeleton mesh is going to be the next one. So we're going to want to copy without the extension. Okay. And then we're going to want to go to rename that to... I think we can safely ignore that error that just popped up. Still have your physics asset selected. Yeah, it's still got the same physics asset selected. There was just a weird error. I have no idea what that is. I've had that pop up before. It seems to be fine. Doesn't seem to cause an issue. So MI, Chicken Pal, Body, and I already have the right names. And then we got the two textures here. I'm also going to be grabbing from the Chicken Pal folder. Each of these. So first up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click new folder, grayscale, and we're going to be shoving this and this into here. And then we want to be dragging in new copies of our base textures. So we want the albedo texture, the metallic texture, and the normal texture. And then just Control Shift Alt S to be able to save all. Okay, so our skeleton is one that isn't named correctly yet, but everything else is. So we're going to go back out to here, and we're going to go to skeleton, find ourselves Chicken Pal, and copy that name. Rename this. And we're going to take this skeleton and we're going to shove it into the folder in skeleton with the same name. And that should all be good. So next up, what we need to do is we need to go to Blueprint, OK, Data Asset, find yourself Chicken Pal. We don't need F model anymore, that can go away. Chicken Pal, and we're just going to select any one of these that we want to be working with. So this refers to the first passive skill inside of their slot. However, I'm going to be going to all. So to explain some of these quickly, we have material swap, mesh swap, and complex swap. Material swap only swaps out the material of the PAL, which is a point. I forgot to do something important. Both of these need to be going inside of here too. We also need to change I to be using the I base, so it has a transparent texture around it. And also I forgot to replace these textures too, so we're going to be wanting to drag in the I'll check both of these boxes first. Drag metallic in and normal. And then just save all of those. So yeah, material swap is basically going to be replacing the material, which is what we're going to be working with. So to know which order the materials go in, because if we open these up by double clicking on them, you'll notice they got a material index to replace. We want to open up the skeletal mesh and look at which order these go in. So 0 is PAL body, 1 is PAL eye. So if we go to here, replace this as a 1, and we're going to want to find ourselves Chicken Pal eye, and replace this one with Chicken Pal body. And that's all set up. But if we want to do a mesh swap, we'd replace the mesh here, and we could also replace the materials here as well, but this is where we would pull in the mesh file to be able to replace the mesh in game. For a complex swap, however, you can replace the mesh. Don't think you can do the material here. Seems to only do mesh swaps. You can technically still do a mesh swap by basically having it refer to this and then don't include this file, and it will just actually no, how would that work? I don't actually 100% know how complex swap works, I just realized. But we're going to be ignoring this for the moment. Like, this is like more complicated stuff that you can fiddle with later on. Can't really break anything by playing with this, so I'd recommend just going through this, but the basics of it is you can select what is supposed to be in slots 2, 3, and 4. It'd be numbered from 0, 1, 2, 3, so this would be in the second slot, first slot, and fourth slot. You can also change what happens if they're male or female, and also exotic mesh. I think that's for if they're a shiny or if they're a boss pal. And also you got the rank up meshes, so you can have like each different rank up gives a different one as well. And you can have more than one mesh swap. So you can just like click on a plus here and get an additional one. But we now got 2. However, I'll just be removing all elements because we're not using that. Yeah, so now we've got all this all set up. We can save this. Puts this all down, we don't need these things. And then one thing we're actually forgetting to do though, which is important before we cook our content. If we go to project settings and we type in cook, we want to have cook everything in the project content directory selected and create compressed cooked packages. So we just want both of these things have things inside of them. And the rest of this we can always ignore, but if there's specific folders that you want to never be cooked, like personally I don't want materials, textures, or skeletons cooked, we could type them in here and it won't cook those. We're going to go to Platforms, Windows, Cook Content, and we'll get back when that's finished because that does take a long time. So once that's all finished, you should have heard a little sound effect and had a little like green notification popped up. So we're next up going to be needing to get hold of ourselves something called unrealpack.exe. So we can find this online by going to Unreal Pack, finding it on GitHub, going to releases, and then we're going to be going to this zip file, just download this zip file, extract it into a folder wherever you want it, and we can, yeah. So we're now going to be creating a folder. This folder will be the name of your mod when you've finished like exporting it. I recommend having a Z at the start of your mod with an underscore. This will make sure that it's loaded at the bottom of the load order, because the way that Palworld loads its mods in, it goes from the lowest in or the highest in alphabetical order to the lowest in alphabetical order, if it makes any sense. So the lower down the alphabetical order is, the more likely it is that it's overwriting files before it. We'll have Z underscore chicken pow, and then I just like doing like okay, and then like whatever was like the name of this mod, so this would be tutorial mod, and then make sure you end your file name with _p. This tells the mod system that it's a patch file and it will be overwriting things. That's very important. So we're then going to want to go to our Unreal project and go into Content Pal, and I'd recommend making shortcuts to these 2 folders we're going to go to. So we're going to Blueprint OK Data Asset. This is where all of your slots are saved. And then we'll also have another one at Cooked Windows. The wrong place. And this is why I have shortcuts, because I always mix this up. But yeah, your thing should be inside of Saved, Cooked, Windows, PAL, Content, PAL, and we'll have the slots inside of Blueprint OK Data Asset, and the models go inside of PAL Content PAL Modded Character Monster. So we're then going to go to Chicken PAL, and Chicken PAL also on here. And I like to just separate them like this so I can see everything all at once. And we're going to copy this file structure. So I'm just going to reference my other ones. We go PAL Content PAL and then these things. So make a folder called PAL, and then a folder called content, and then a folder inside of content called PAL, and then a folder inside of here called blueprint, and a folder also in here called model. And we want new folder character, and inside of here we're going to be grabbing the texture. Actually, yeah, no, everything that's inside of here we could just leave here, unless you're replacing the base texture or model of the PAL, which you probably aren't if you're making an OK PAL framework mod. You want to ignore everything that's inside of here. So the reason why these are here is because it tells the mod where they're located in the base game to reference them, but we don't want to replace them, we just want to have it know where they are. So we can ignore all of these things, we just need this folder right here. Copy that, put it here, and this will contain your material file and your texture files, and this is how it's going to be able to replace things. Then we're also going to want to go to the blueprint folder, make a folder inside of here called OK, folder inside of here called data asset, and a folder inside of here called thicken PAL. We're going to be grabbing the ULF asset because that's the one we've been working with, and we also want the other one here. So make sure you got both the UEXP and the UAsset file. The reason why mine look like this is because I tend to sort mine by size. So sorting by size means that the most recently used asset, or like the file that's biggest, the one I've actually been working on, will be near the top. It just makes it easier for organization for me. You can have it sorted by name if you want to, and then it'll all be grouped together like this, but just a personal preference for myself, it just makes it easier for me. So, future Luna coming in here to let you know, can you notice what I did wrong here? So come up in a bit, we're going to be going into game and having it not work. After seeing me do what I did with the blueprints folder, you could probably tell something isn't right here. Make sure you have your file structure correct. If it's not working, you probably got your file structure wrong. But that should now be working. And future Luna coming in here again, we also had a second issue coming in with this file structure. I booted up the game again and it did not load in the file again. It's because I forgot to have the monster folder. I may be stupid. But yeah, having this file structure all correct, if we then were to load this in as a mod, it should work. We'll be back when it's working. And now we've done all that, we can close both of these, because we only need this bit. We're going to be grabbing this folder, and you just drag it onto Unreal Pack with compression, and drop it on. You'll get this all run through. It might take longer if you've got a lot more files to work through, but it usually finishes quite quickly. And we'll have been given this file here. So we want to take that file, go to your Palworld folder where you would normally be installing your Palworld mods. So we'll go to Manage, Browse Local Files, PAL, Content, Packs, and Mods, because this is not a logic mod, this is a pack mod. You should know how to do this anyway. If you're doing OK framework mods and you don't know how to install these things already, maybe go and install some other OK framework mods first to understand how they install, or like mods in general. But they all should work like this. So your pack mods go into packs, your binary mods go into binaries, and your logic mods go into logic. But with that in there, okay, so now we've got the file structure actually all set up correctly. If we throw it to Chicken Pal, we should have it be black and white and in grayscale. So yeah, that's how you get a OK framework mod to work. Have fun being creative in Blender. You can find a bunch of tutorials online for more in-depth ways to be able to use Blender to get more of your creative vision. And there's a lot of stuff to learn with Blender, but it's very rewarding to learn how to do it, and you can do all sorts of stuff if you learn how to get into Blender more. This is a really good beginner's project to learn how to do texturing, and in the future, if you want to go into that, also like model edits, model tweaks, original models, imports, all that kind of stuff. You can even get into things like, for example, my model I'm using for VTubing. This is all like retextured, slightly model tweaked, added on horns, all that kind of stuff was done by me. The base model was made by a person called Art of Nessa, which is just like the majority of like just the base model of this, like the face have tweaked a little bit, but most of it's just like base how it came from them. But yeah, I hope you have some good luck with making your mods. Good luck, have fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!